Hey folks, so today I was going to cover something different and decided to change my mind, and we'll deal with that at a later point. What I'm kind of going to go over today is my impression of the CrossFit Games season so far. Because in my opinion it's a wee bit of a tipping point here. So we've had the Open, and in my opinion, I think the Open this year was probably one of the best Opens that we have had in a long time. It's probably the one that I've enjoyed the most since my first Open, potentially, which was back in 2015. But I just thought the workouts, we'll kind of go through the workouts as we're talking about this, but I thought the workouts were absolutely brilliant. So that very first workout, where it was the dumbbell snatches and the burpees over the dumbbell, so simple, so easy, it can be done in such a small space. Easy rep standards as well, that's important for later on, where we think about locking the dumbbell out, overhead, everything nice and tall, stand up in a straight line, go back down to the bottom, repeat, and with the burpee, chest and thighs to the floor and jump over the dumbbell, two-footed jump. It was simple, it made sense. We then look at the second workout. Again, what I thought was great here was the weight was a wee bit, relatively speaking, heavier than what you would have classed the 22.5 kilo dumbbell as compared to the deadlift weight. So they've maybe upped that a little bit, but they've added a little sprinkling of skill. So we've still got a cardio piece, we've still got a weightlifting piece, but we've now got double unders thrown in there. Yes, it was a decent number of double unders, but it wasn't that many that anyone who's learning double unders or getting used to double unders or wanting to challenge themselves wouldn't be able to do some reps. So I thought, again, that was a great workout and a really well put together test, if you want to use that phrase. We then get to the third workout. Now, that third workout, personally, I would have made one little change to it, and instead of doing chest to bars, I'd have done toes to bar, because I think it's a slightly more accessible movement. We'd maybe have had a few more people from the general gym being able to do the thruster weight at the start, do the toes to bar, get some reps in, maybe get to the heavier weight, the barbell. But the chest to bar, it's just that wee bit more difficult, and I think it put a lot of people off. But it's a minor complaint, because again, what we've done is we've upped the skill level again, and then if you were able to get past those first couple of rounds, you then got to do some bar muscle ups and really test your skills. So as far as the Open went, those 3 workouts, I think they were pretty well nailed on. Big improvement on last year's Open, in my opinion. Not that I thought last year's Open was bad, but I think this was a big improvement on it. We then get to quarterfinals. Now, looking at this with hindsight, this is where I think some of the cracks start to appear. So the first workout, we've got the snatches, the rowing and the dumbbell box step-ups. So what do I mean by cracks are starting to appear? The box step-up's been done before, okay? We can roll back to, I think it was maybe 2018 or 2019, somewhere around about there. There was a lunge workout with box step-ups in it. It was one dumbbell. Not the 2 that we had this time, so it was one dumbbell. The standard, again, was a simple standard. I don't think there was a restriction of where you could hold the dumbbell, but you had to stand up tall at the top of it, and you had to alternate your feet. Now this year, there's been all the controversy around the box step-ups that's been going on about the full extension of the hip at the top of it and all this sort of stuff. But you could step up anywhere in the box, so you're allowed to step up in the corners, which is traditionally quicker than stepping up in the front side of it. It comes back to that old thing that I remember being told, and it's that KISS principle: keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Like, why mess about with what everybody knows is a simple standard of you step up onto the front facing part of the box and you stand tall? Why allow us to play about with that? You're just asking for problems to occur, and that's what they got. Now, yes, they clamped down on it, and yes, they held the reps accountable. That's fine, I don't have a problem with that at all. But Keep it simple. Don't make it more complicated than it has to be, and you won't get as many problems. Okay, so we go to workout 2, and we're then looking at the 50 wall ball shots and the 50 burpee box jump overs. Again, an odd standard. Okay, so you could kind of face anything. So it said it was meant to be a lateral box jump, then all of a sudden didn't have to be lateral, it had to be a step down, it couldn't be a jump down. Why make it more complicated? It's just adding complexity to something that doesn't need to be hard. Keep the rules simple. Okay, so if it's lateral, you've got to be lateral. If it's box facing, it's got to be box facing. Or just make it a burpee. Just make it a burpee to a target. Could have rolled back to that. You've got the wall ball, we're talking about using limited space. They could have rolled it back to a burpee to a target. 12-inch touch that you've got to jump up and hit. Instead, we had all this complexity around it. We had all these added rules. We had people jumping off. We had people stepping off. Great workout in principle, made too complicated. So, get to workout 3. Workout 3, great. Okay, handstand push-ups, toes to bar, strict handstand push-ups, rope climbs, wall facing handstand push-ups and muscle ups. Simple, easy. You know when the rep's done. Your toe hits the bar. You touch over the mark for the rope climb. You extend your handstand push-up. There were some where we've got a wee bit of discrepancy about body position, but again, it was a good workout. And in the 4th workout, we had the clean and jerks. Great. All in all, you look at these workouts, the workout that was actually written was great, but some of the stuff that was put in around standards just got in the way of what should have been awesome, in my opinion. So we then roll on to semi-finals, and this is where, personally, I think we start to enter a wee bit of a problem area. If you look at the Masters semi-finals, I know there's been some arguments about the weights or the movements could have been more complex to challenge them more, but they were still decent tests in my opinion, okay? The first one with the rowing and the snatches, it was a good test. Go to the second one, you're talking about double unders, chest to bar pull-ups, box jumps and the strict handstand push-ups. Again, it was a good test. Going back to quarterfinals, it was a box jump up, step down. Why couldn't we just have done a burpee box jump instead of having to do the over? And again, all the stuff from before, where it was about the step up, step downs, we would have known the standard, there wouldn't have been a problem. Jump up, stand up all the way up tall and step back down. It's still pretty much the same thing. 3rd workout, the front squats and muscle ups. That one I'm a wee bit torn about because I don't know that the front squat weight was maybe heavy enough to really interfere with muscle ups for those that are good at muscle ups. So I think that if they had made it a slightly heavier front squat, you might have levelled the playing field a wee bit more than that one. I think that one was heavily weighted towards you're good at gymnastics, the front squat's just an inconvenience. Still a good workout, but I think there was that could have been tweaked a wee bit to be better. And going for the 4th one, the 30 cleans, 30 toes to bar and 30 thrusters, that was just a burn the house down one. That was just a pull the pin, see what you can do. That was good. So again, the Masters semi-finals, pretty well programmed as well. And then we come to the individuals ones. Now, I actually, if I'm being honest, really like the events. Really like them, okay? The first one, the 800 metre run, the 5 clean and jerks, that looked awesome. Wee bit disappointed that the stream wasn't better for it and we could have got a bit more out of it. It would have been a great event to actually see them running around their loops and stuff like that. But hey, it's CrossFit Media. But that looked like a great event. The way that just destroyed people, the wee weird bit in me kind of wants to try it because it looks like fun. But that was a really good one. Really liked that one. Going to the second event, the 100 double unders, 20 toes to bar, 10 front squats, brilliant again, okay? And this is what I mean about the weight. So the weight for this, we're talking about, a 100 kilo barbell for the guys instead of an 80 something kilo barbell. With a lower gymnastic skill, why? They've got 100 double unders in there as well. There was no double unders in the Masters one, so why wasn't the barbell heavier to challenge that gymnastic skill a wee bit more? It's a shorter workout, it's not as many It's not as many reps in volume. I think the weight could have been heavier, and this kind of harks back to that. But as far as individual semi-finals go, I thought this event was brilliant and it was a really good spectacle. We then come to event number 3. Now, on paper, I think this looks brilliant. Okay, the 10 calorie echo bike, 1 legless rope climb, 10 box jump overs with a step down, and the 1 legless rope climb. Now, where I have a problem with this is the injuries that were occurred during this workout. Now, some people are attributing it to the box jump and the step down. I get it, when you're going fast, you're having to twist and move, yet you're putting a lot of strain on everything. But why? And this is the bit that I can't get, and it really angers me. Why, when I think back to 2015 or 2016? 2016 I think it was, they had the rope climb workout in there. You had to descend a certain point under control, show control below that point, and then come down. Why all of a sudden are we allowing people to go up a 15-foot rope and just drop 15 feet back to the ground? No wonder we ended up with knee injuries and ankle injuries and everything else. What did you think was going to happen? And what would have been so hard about saying on that standard, you've got to descend down below this mark and then you can let go? Is it going to have affected the spectacle? Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. If you can descend a rope faster than somebody else, you're still going to be able to do it with that standard in place. The events might have been, what have we got, 7 rounds. Say it takes 2 seconds per rep. Really? 28 seconds or something like that out of a whole workout? That's the big difference it would have made. It's not changing the workout, it's not changing how it goes. We might not have had the 2 that I can think of season-ending injuries that took place with Rebecca Vittison and Bill Leahy. One of them's done their knee in, the other one's done his ankle in. Folk will argue back and say, oh yeah, but it's their fault for doing it, they should have come down slower. I'm sorry. If you don't put the standard in, people are going to race as fast as they possibly can to get to the end. So why didn't you just keep the standard that you've had for so many years of you have to show control below this point? I'm sure they did it last year with the legless rope climbs, and that was what blew folk up because they couldn't control themselves all the way back down the rope to get to the bottom and they were slipping. So you've gone from that to just letting people drop 15 feet out there. Just stupid in my opinion, and that's where I think we've got a real issue potentially coming up. We then looked to event 4. I thought it looked dull on paper and it was actually one of the most exciting ones to watch. I absolutely loved that event and it was great to see how the row, if you were a great rower and you were a really competent handstand walker, you were probably going to win that. If you're a really great handstand walker but an okay rower, it wasn't quite as easy to catch that up. So it did favour the rowers and the heavier work and the heavier athletes and the bigger athletes, like I'm sure Andrew Hiller said that. But I thought this was a great workout, really exciting to watch, really exciting to watch. Event 5, the snatches, brilliant again, but to roll back to what I was saying about the standards, we saw a couple of folk getting really, really harsh and potentially unwarranted no reps on this. Did it need to be a squat snatch? Did they need to specify that? Could they not just have said snatches anyhow? Just go for it. Power snatch it until you can't power snatch it and then squat snatch it. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but I think that would have been better. Just 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, here's your time windows, go do it. If you're strong enough and you can power snatch all the way up to like the 155, 225 bar, or even the 245 and 165 bar. So I think that's roughly about 100 kilos in a 70 kilo bar. Or the one above that where we're talking about a 110 kilo bar. Yeah, about 110 kilo bar, something like that. Yeah, cool. If you can power snatch that and you can get through that in that time window with your heart rate going up and everything, go power snatch it. Go and show off your strength. That'd be really cool to see. A few folk get really bad dings on this just because they were no repped for something that wasn't a no rep. So again, talking about this tipping point, the standards. Did we need to make it squat to make it as good? Then my favourite workout, the 30 EcoBike calories, 15 muscle ups, and the 72-foot dumbbell walk and lunge with those monster dumbbells. Awesome workout, but I'm coming back to the same thing again. Lockout on the muscle ups and the standard. So, once again, we saw a lot of people pushing up and not getting that elbow locked out, or being behind the rings and getting away with those reps because their judges let them do it. We had a big rig there, could have made it bar muscle ups, and again, it's easier to see that standard and not have that problem. Okay, you've got to lock out to the top and go again. Might have made it an even faster race. Okay, in some ways, would it have played about with their grip even more? Because more people wouldn't have broken up, or you could add an extra couple of reps in. That aside, I still thought this workout was awesome. Now, it comes to the crux of the video now, because, and this looks like it's going to be quite a long video, because I think all the workouts were awesome. Pretty much. Across the board, I think if you actually look at those workouts and look at them as programmed workouts for a class, brilliant. But where we've got a problem with CrossFit just now, in my opinion, is if we don't stop messing about with the simplistic elements of this, there's going to be a big problem. There's going to be a big problem. We're talking about the box step up at the start and huge penalties for athletes, inconsistent penalties for athletes depending on what was happening. So it's standards in judging again, because it varied depending on what that judge felt and what they felt was a major, minor, etc, etc. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, when we get into the semi-finals, judging inconsistencies again are proven to be a problem. Missing things that have happened. So if you like CrossFit and you've seen this, Roman jumping off the box when Dallin stepped off the box, and Dallin lost out by a couple, 0.0 something of a second. If Roman had stepped down, Dallin won that workout. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. The squat snatches, again, it's a big deal. And then that rope climb workout, oh. Don't let people fall out the sky. You're just asking for trouble. So hopefully, when it comes games time and we get into the games taking place, it's my sincere hope that all this unnecessary fluff that goes around the standards can just get wiped out. And we keep it simple and straightforward. This is how you do the rep, this is how you complete it, this is how you get to go. This is how you do the rep safely, this is how it gets completed, we're all good to go. Because there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than watching these top class athletes sell their soul for a year to turn up and get injured unnecessarily. It's one thing to, you're doing a heavy snatch and you hurt your Brooke Wells, really unfortunate, doing the snatch, done her elbow, an absolute beast. Don't want to see it, but that's a risk of sport. Okay, we've got other ones where these things have happened, and I understand the principle around some of it, like the box jump over, we want to try and protect Achilles. But if you want to protect Achilles, don't let people drop 15 foot out of the sky after doing 500 double unders, then to jump onto a bike and send it, to then go and do box jumps. That doesn't add up. For a group of professionals that are putting all this together, that's a pretty big oversight. So, that's my video for this week. Wee bit of a grump and a groan. The overarching principle of it is I love the season as a whole, but I'm really worried because I think there's a potential to tip into a poor position. I don't want to see that happen. But if you've enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.